Welcome to the battlefield. You're watching Wrestling Reality Hub, your front row seat to WWE Mayhem. Subscribe and let's drop kick into the headlines. Let's talk about what really happened on Raw, the split that shocked everyone. The breakup between Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker wasn't a random explosion of ego or pride. It wasn't just two powerhouse athletes reaching their breaking point. It was a chess move. And the man holding the board, smiling behind the curtain, was none other than Paul Heyman. The so-called wise man of WWE once again proved why that title might be the most dangerous compliment in wrestling. While the audience saw chaos, Heyman saw opportunity, and every step of this feud has unfolded exactly how he wanted. The puppet master moves in silence. Paul Heyman doesn't need to cause scenes or shout orders. His real power lies in whispers, in quiet moments that never make it to the broadcast. Remember the subtle conversation between Heyman and Bronson Reed backstage a few weeks before the tension began? WWE barely showed it, almost as if they didn't want fans to notice. But that's where the story truly started. Reed walked away from that brief talk looking different, less certain, more introspective. That's not coincidence. That's the first seed of manipulation. Heyman has always had a knack for finding cracks in even the strongest foundations. He doesn't destroy people directly. He convinces them to destroy themselves. The old Heyman playbook. If you've followed Paul Heyman's career, you've seen this pattern before. He finds two people who work well together, praises both, and slowly convinces each that they deserve more than the other. He did it with Brock Lesnar's alliances. He did it with CM Punk's relationships backstage. And decades earlier, he did it in ECW with tag teams that crumbled under the weight of their own pride. Heyman's formula is simple: isolate, agitate, dominate. He isolates his targets from anyone who might keep them grounded. He agitates small insecurities until they feel like betrayals. Then he dominates the fallout, positioning himself as the only one who can fix the mess he secretly created. The timeline that tells the story. Let's break down how perfectly the Reed Breaker story fits that formula. Week 1, Heyman talks to Reed. Week 2, Reed begins to show flashes of frustration with Breaker. Week 3, Breaker responds, confused and defensive. Week 4, they explode and Heyman just happens to be in the background, offering advice. This isn't coincidence, it's choreography. Every single beat follows the same rhythm Heyman has used for decades. He didn't push anyone directly. He just adjusted the emotional temperature until the whole room caught fire. The psychology of division. Paul Heyman's greatest weapon isn't a microphone or a promo. It's psychology. He makes everyone around him feel special, chosen, irreplaceable, right before he makes them doubt that very feeling. When Reed started doubting his place beside Breaker, when Breaker began wondering if Reed was outshining him, that wasn't ego. That was influence. Heyman doesn't need to lie. He just tells partial truths designed to make people question everything. He convinces warriors that their partners are obstacles, not allies. By the time they realize the manipulation, the damage is already done. The modern-day blueprint. Today, Heyman's focus is shifting. The Bloodline saga gave him power, but even he knows every empire eventually falls. So what's his next move? Preparing the next monster. Someone new, someone destructive, someone he can mold into his next unstoppable force. That's where Bronson Reed comes in. Reed has the physical presence and the aggression that Heyman loves. The same qualities that made Lesnar and Reigns legends. Breaker has star potential too, but he's still finding his voice. Reed, on the other hand, represents pure, unpredictable power. For Heyman, that's gold. The emotional aftershock lost in all the analysis is the human toll. Both Reed and Breaker were on the verge of greatness together. As a team, they balanced each other. Breaker's intensity and Reed's raw strength. They were building chemistry, momentum, and trust. Now that trust is ash. Both men are caught in a feud that may thrill audiences but derails their long-term growth. And while the fans cheer, two careers are being reshaped, maybe for better, maybe for worse. All because one man decided chaos would serve him better than harmony. Why Heyman thrives in chaos, Paul. Heyman's relevance depends on unpredictability. When WWE is stable, when stories are clean and clear, Heyman fades into the background. But when emotions run high, when alliances break and storylines explode, he becomes indispensable. Chaos is his oxygen. It's how he stays powerful, needed, untouchable. By orchestrating the Reed Breaker implosion, Heyman ensured that once again, all eyes drift back toward him. The man with the answers, the advisor who somehow always survives every storm. The real mastermind of WWE. Some people call him a genius. Others call him a manipulator. The truth is, he's both. Heyman's brilliance lies in his ability to blur the line between storyline and strategy, between manipulation and mentorship. He tells just enough truth to make his lies believable. He frames ambition as loyalty and betrayal as destiny. That's why he's always 3 moves ahead. While we argue about what happened this week, he's already planning what will happen 3 months from now. The pattern is too clear to ignore. Look back over 20 years of WWE history. How many times has a major feud or betrayal occurred near Paul Heyman's orbit? Too many to count. From Lesnar's betrayals to Punk's downfall, from the cracks in the bloodline to this very moment with Reed and Breaker, Heyman's fingerprints are everywhere. At some point, pattern recognition stops being theory and starts being truth. And that truth is this: Paul Heyman doesn't adapt to chaos. He creates it. The future he's building. Make no mistake, this story isn't over. In time, Heyman will align himself with one of these men. He'll deliver a passionate promo about how he saw something special from day one, how he always believed in their potential, how he understands their pain. And the crowd will cheer because Heyman knows how to sell redemption as easily as he sells rebellion. But don't be fooled. Every alliance he forms has an expiration date written in invisible ink. This is his cycle: build, manipulate, destroy, rebuild. And he's about to start it all over again. The cost of entertainment. As fans, we often forget that behind the entertainment are real people, real careers, real consequences. Reed and Breaker's split may make for compelling television, but it also reflects the darker side of ambition. How easily trust can be weaponized. How quickly success can turn to suspicion. Paul Heyman's genius keeps the wrestling world talking, but it also leaves a trail of fractured partnerships and missed potential. At some point, we have to ask whether the drama is worth the damage. The call for accountability. It's time to acknowledge the pattern. Paul Heyman has been manipulating storylines and superstars for decades, not for their growth, but for his own longevity. The Reed Breaker split is just the latest example of his behind-the-scenes power plays. Maybe you admire his intelligence, maybe you despise his tactics, but what you can't do anymore is pretend it's coincidence. Every move, every betrayal, every perfectly timed promo traces back to one man pulling invisible strings. Conclusion: the curtain pulled back. The truth is out now. Paul Heyman orchestrated the Reed Breaker split, not for story progression, but for self-preservation. He thrives in the shadows, but once those shadows are lit, his power fades. The question is, will fans keep feeding the chaos he creates, or will they finally hold him accountable? The manipulation stops only when we stop accepting it. The show must go on, but it's time the man behind the curtain faced the spotlight he's been avoiding for far too long.